Joining us now, Congressman from California, Darrell Issa. Listen, Congressman, you've met with Gold Star families in the past. I know that. What did you think when you heard Joe Biden claim, hey, no troops have died under my watch?
I felt just like those Gold Star families had to. He wouldn't talk to them when their bodies were brought home. He talked about his son, Bo, dying in combat, which he didn't. He then went on to lie about the withdrawal itself and the fact that he should have left Bagram Air Base and this wouldn't have happened. And now he's denying the loss of 13 men and women. And those pictures you're showing, I carried those in when I jumped at Normandy on June 7th, along with World War II vets, because I thought their sacrifice was just as much part of our history.
Certainly. Listen, former White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki apparently is going to sit for an interview about the Afghanistan withdrawal. I mean, what answers would you like from her?
Well, she'll be under oath, and we're going to ask why she lied and said that there were only 100 or 200, these small numbers of Americans left behind, when we now have evidence, just like President Biden's lie, we now have evidence that isn't the case. And then when she talks about the successful airlift, the 100,000, we're going to ask quite straightforward, now where are the tens of thousands of people that were unvetted, that were taken to military bases, kept away from any outside influence, including members of Congress, and then disappeared? We're going to want to know where those unvetted people are, many of whom were undoubtedly released from Bagram prison just days before. All of these things are still unanswered, but worse than that, they've told us lies, and now under oath, they've got to explain when they knew and how they knew, because they clearly knew that what they were saying wasn't true at the time they said it. Just as the other night on that debate, the president, if he had his faculties, would have known that 13 men and women died and that he had never said their names and he'd never met with the families to this day.
All right, next one for you, Congressman. Let's talk about Jack Smith's January 6th case against Donald Trump. What happens now, do you think, that the Supreme Court has ruled in favor of presidential immunity on official acts? How does that play out?
Well, look, the special prosecutor's been after him forever. He conjured up a way to prosecute him. Now that that's in shambles, he's going to probably come up with some new theory to keep it alive. But it's going to be taken exactly as it is, an outright attempt just to keep a dead case alive, one that never should have been brought. The only regret I have is that 6-3 decision. If those men and women had really looked properly, they would have done 9-0, because it's not a close call, that the president has to be able to execute his or her duties without worrying about constantly some prosecutor somewhere going after them.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Congressman Darrell Issa, thank you, sir, for being with us today. We appreciate it.